Hello and welcome to another episode of the DewatchPod podcast. I am Jorgen Smorgasbord.
And I'm Jimmy the G, and we're returning with Season 3 of Star Trek Discovery.
That's right, and we have picked, I want to say maybe the gayest episode I could find, but I'm not sure. There's probably a gayer one coming down the pipe that we've accidentally skipped over.
Are you just saying it's gay because of Hugo, the doctor?
No, well, because both of the protagonists are trans, but one of them isn't trans yet, so it's a bit funky that
Wait,
way.
what's the other protagonist?
Gray?
Gray's trans?
I think so.
That would explain the name. Okay, no, I'm on board.
But yeah, so we have watched Forget Me Not, which is the Trill episode of season 3.
And also, from what I understand, the episode directly after they have traveled to the distant future?
No, there are some minor intervening episodes. But yeah, no, it's very much in the direct aftermath.
Because we're still very much dealing with the ooh, ain't this weird?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's hip fire some content warnings for you.
Well, we should yes no the episode.
We should
first.
yes no. It's a yes for me actually.
Really?
I think
it's still a no for me.
It's completely fine. It's not hitting high heights, but I think it's enjoyable. This is a type of Star Trek episode that I actually quite like.
Well, the thing for me is that a lot of dialogue just feels very placeholder to me.
Yeah, that's a show. Jorgen.
Yeah, so I think I'm generally down at that.
I actually felt like I noticed that less today than last episode, but you know, none of them are coming out squeaky clean exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, if you do want to go with Jim's opinion and watch the episode, you have content warnings for violence
and parasites are a parasitic organism. That's it.
Yeah, there's a parasitic species. Well, it's a symbiont nominally.
Technically, but, you know, this is commensalism.
I do not have the diagram in my mind.
Probably like every 6 months I look up the diagram on Wikipedia and I'm like, yeah, no, I'll remember this.
And you don't.
Correct.
It's unfortunate.
It's a cycle of life, man.
I just don't have that kind of ability to fool myself.
I went to school for 5 years to study mind trickery. Like I have to practice it.
All right, Jedi. To go for a quick summary. So this is in the this Discovery is in the future, and they're like, "Oh, where's the Federation? We have a message from Admiral Tal." And we have one Tal on board. It's Adira with the Tal symbiont, but not quite Adira Tal at this point.
Correct.
And I guess we'll just have to go to Trill to finally have the planet Trill. Man, it would be very funny to go like, so we named it Planet Human because it kept tripping people up that we hadn't like eponymized our planet.
They always do this in sci-fi. I'm like, this is not, I don't understand where you're extrapolating this from. You know, like, if you should do this, you should call humans either Terrans or Earthlings.
The Klingon homeworld is called Kronos. With a Q.
Also, shout out, Mass Effect does not do this.
Vulcan homeworld is Vulcan.
There you go. And Romulan homeworld is Italy.
I think it is planet Romulus.
That sounds right.
So, you know, mixed record at best.
It would have been better to call it Remus.
No. But yeah, so they go to Trill, and because, you know, like the plot pretense is like really not the big deal here. And we have the A plot and the B plot. The B plot is aboard Discovery, and the A plot is aboard Trill.
This is one of the heavier distances between A plot and B plot severity, I would say.
Absolutely. And on Trill, it's quite simple. The Trill are like, what the fuck? That's a human. You can't do this shit.
I thought it's also specifically that like Adira can't communicate with their symbiont, and that's why they're like, this is pretty fucked, dude.
Well, that's not how I read it. They're just like, oh, hold on, well, they try to give How are we doing pronouns?
I'm going with so I should flag this. Adara later comes out as non-binary
I
question mark.
believe so. It's been a while, but
I think we
you will notice they them pronouns in future seasons. So I
yeah.
think that what happened.
I guess I'm they demming them until future notice.
Well, past notice with our
It's good.
chronology.
It just seems easier, you know.
I don't think Adira shows up in past seasons, so I
Um,
think Adira is a new addition, which I didn't realize. I
we
thought
could
Adira had been here all along, but no, we're getting like the big Adira introduction,
we can
and this
also
is it.
we can also do what you're currently doing, which is just saying the name every time.
Uh, well, yeah, I need to be specific, but yeah, no, they are they're currently still closeted about being non-binary, or maybe it's a consequence of getting your brain blasted with like 5 different like rich lives. It's more than that actually.
Yeah,
So I reckon that does something to your gender.
might as well. Weren't like I'm trying to think of because we get to see the other hosts at one point in the episode, and I think most of them are fellas, little guys.
Most of them are wreathed in shadow.
They are shadow reaving themselves. Nonetheless,
Yeah,
they are rejected
yeah,
essentially, and
for not being Trill,
and,
because Trill is racist.
and I think the red cloaked people are like, we should kill them all. Or
Well, the
let's
red
steal the
cloak people
symbiont.
are like, we should kill this person to get the symbiote, or rather get the symbiote and take the extremely high risk of killing this person
And
because
the
we don't care.
and the orange side of the monastery is like, no, we should help them like rediscover their
Yeah,
connection with
we
the
should be
symbiont.
cool, and I just want to like plant a completely unnecessary flag here that like I'm getting a lot of like Sting vibes, like the artist from Big Orange.
I have nothing to say on this.
Yeah, that's
Because I
all.
don't really know who Sting is.
He's just got like this sort of like weird. He's like grizzled in the way that like a rock star is grizzled,
I can see what you mean.
and
It's
he
it's
seems to be. He has like very emotional energy, and all of that is very Sting coded to
it's
me.
it's it. This is probably where I'm going too far. It's mid to high level of drinking for 30 years and you're 50 kind of energy.
But he's Buddhist now,
So it's good. And in between, we have the leader of the monastery in between red and orange, white.
who is ironically a black woman.
I don't see the need to mention that, but sure.
Oh.
Though
Well,
we,
you weren't sure if she's Trill.
well, I couldn't see the dots, and you had just explained to me that you identify trills by the dots,
Oh yeah,
which
no.
I previously
Yeah,
I
no,
have.
so this was also the episode of giving Jim the lowdown on the Trill, sort of by the by, um, which was fun.
I've seen the whole symbiont thing in previous things that you showed me, and I assumed it was the symbiont that gave people the dots.
They do sort of introduce like all the relevant elements, like extremely on the side. So if you're coming in with a blank slate, which you weren't, which made it worse, I think. If you're coming in without preconceptions, think you can pick it up. But if you sort of familiar with what the Trill are, this one's going to be tough.
I was hitting Mount Stupid on the Dunning Kruger curve, you know.
Yeah,
That's
sort
actually
of.
not Dunning Kruger, but anyway. Nonetheless, woman in white is like taking the easy path out. Get out! You just
Yeah, no, we're
leave.
not gonna kill you, but you should fuck off. And they're like, we are not being led to our ship. Whoops! Or the Reds are trying to assassinate us.
Blam blam. Situation resolved. Now
Yeah,
let's.
like Michael, who is at this point not the captain, just starts
Yeah.
blasting.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Saru's the captain.
I was gonna ask about that actually.
Yeah, no, it's a season changeover thing.
That makes sense. Two people get blasted. A third person in an orange robe runs up and goes like, "I'm not like with the others. I'm cool." And it turns out he's cool.
No, it's 3 people get blasted.
Three
and
people get blasted.
so
Fourth person.
you heard the interaction before the third blasting, and I didn't, and you seemed entertained by it.
I honestly, right? Yeah, no. I forget the line, but he just. Oh no, I'm sorry I lost it, but he had a very like cliche line that you can tell like it felt like first take.
You need
How
to
you
shoot me if you want to get out of here or something. I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, no, you
Um,
screwed me. I've lost prestige in the eyes of our listeners
yeah,
now.
no, but Sting shows up and is like, I'm taking you to the fucking cave. Fuck these people. They've and in a way he's warranted because they have disagreed with the lady in white first. So I guess he has license to do whatever the fuck he wants to now.
Like the when I get put on court martial, I can point out the other faction was worse than me, and so
Yeah.
I've got some leeway. But yeah,
That did actually work for the German submarine warfare strategy at Nuremberg. They were like, nah, everyone who was doing shit. So,
I okay. Is this because you recently watched Nuremberg?
no, this is what led to me recently watching Nuremberg.
Fascinating. All right, little sprinkles of our everyday lives coming into the podcast. They get taken to the caves. Adair gets dipped, and starts having a bad time.
Yeah,
Like,
well, goes under
yeah,
and like physically disappears.
yes, into like these like sacred reflecting
And they're
pools.
like, now we do have all these like spiritual trill professionals around. Who's gonna go in the pool to help this young initiate? I know it's
Michael.
Michael Burnham, the character who is like, I'm going to like propose a bold theory here. Um, and it's that Michael Burnham is a character that shouldn't be in the show because she doesn't have a specific thing, and you would get a lot more variety and breadth of characters if there were like a person whose specific thing is called for in the episode were
Hmm.
stepping forth to do the thing. Um, but that's uh I I just at this point because like I'm ragging on the show a lot.
Yeah.
Like I'm just watching this, right? And it's like Adira's like, "Hey, don't give me any smug lines." And Michael's like, guess I won't." And then Adira's like, "All right, give me an inspirational line now." And like, if you're an actor and you're given this script, like, what do you do? Like, you're fucked.
Yeah. I
Like, your career will, like, maybe take a hit from having been given this bad a script. And I going on this tangent now because for me, like, the the camel's back is broken. I I am fully convinced that this is coming out of like Hollywood going like, "Oh, so like we can just like not pay writers for a full job if you just like lock 6 writers in a room like 6 months before we film anything and just like have them cobble everything together? Sick." And this feels very much like that, where they were like, "All right, there's 6 of us, we need to like hammer out a season arc and like work out like vaguely what goes into spaces in between." And then they're kicked out and there's nobody to like work out like the details.
they're getting like the first initial conclave when the citizens of Rome got pissed that they weren't electing a pope fast enough. They're like, no food, no food until you fix this. Um,
Like
I do think like I was gonna save this a little bit, but I do feel like Burnham in particular gets a little bit of like you need to be whatever a captain needs to be at the moment, like
yeah,
as far as
also
writing is
not a
concerned.
captain.
Yeah, true, but like I think she's kind
Yeah.
of like already the protagonist, right?
Yeah, no, she's the
Because
the series protagonist.
in this episode, she's a lot more like I'm like a little bit of like a sassy action hero,
Yeah.
and in like the other episodes, she's been a lot more like I'm the cool, collected, like level-headed style captain.
Yeah, except when she's like riding a speeder bike or whatever.
What was that?
She does a lot of action. Oh, I might have watched that on my own. She does a lot of action for a captain.
But
Like,
she
hey,
doesn't.
what if a dedicated character were like doing that?
She just doesn't feel like she has a consistent enough personality displayed.
Yeah.
But yeah, she gets set under, and Adair is having a bad time, and they're like, "There's tentacles coming for me," and Burnham, in her infinite wisdom, is like,
Well, it's threats, I think.
Yeah, and Vernum's like, you should hang out with them. And this leads
Yeah,
to a journey of memories between Adira and their boyfriend, Gray,
yeah,
who was a previous Trill host of a
yes.
symbiont.
The
Yeah,
direct
the immediate previous
predecessor.
of the one that Adira has now. He gets blown up, and as he's
Yeah.
dying, Adira's like, can I have it?
And he's like, "You would do that for me? You would take on the responsibility of carrying my sick ass symbiont that makes me brilliant and cool?
You would
That's so brave of you. Thank you for taking on this sick ass power."
You would pick up the genie lamp just for me? Free wishes, and it's a cool genie too?
That,
That's amazing. You're a
yeah,
hero.
no,
This is how rich people think of themselves.
and this this makes sense because the symbiont thing is based on trust, and also there's no other characters in the flashback whatsoever.
I sorry, I might have blanked here. Why did he get blown up?
Oh, I think it was just like a meteor that sort of hit the generation ship that they were hanging out on.
Imagine day
Like
2.
you can see it like in the background, like when they're like
Right,
having
yeah.
their like moment, and it's suddenly like, all right, enough moment. Large object approaches through the window. Boom.
Imagine imagine getting hit with like the god particle, and then like 2 days later, car. Like you're gonna be like, come on. I
Yeah.
couldn't get like a week being sick at
I mean,
everything I
listen,
do.
Gray gets to survive being impaled out of this.
This is true. This is true.
So, I don't know, they should just like have a symbiont that they're like, all right, you're on your way out. We're just gonna like sweep up all those memories while we're going.
Yeah. No. But yeah, like Adira has some trouble with this. They are kind of like having like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to have these memories, and then they actually
Yeah.
seem completely fine with it.
Well, yeah, I think the sort of strongly implied conflict here is right that Adira is like sort of on a guttural level, like knows what's coming down the pike, but like
Mm.
is like, oh yeah, no, I'm pretty happy with my amnesia, and I would really like to not remember my boyfriend dying in my arms. But Michael's like, you gotta go, man. We're in the water, and I don't know if we're coming out if you don't go.
I think I actually kind of like that moment where like Burnham like starts with it like, no, this is good for your personal development, and then when they're really like putting up some resistance, she's like, I didn't want to have to pull this card, but we're all dying if you don't do some personal development right now.
And thankfully, Adira does personal development at gunpoint really well, and
Everything's good.
all
They
the hosts are like, "What up? You're in the club."
and Gray is there, and then it turns out Gray gets to stay in their like psychic field, or
Yeah, no, like Gray basically persists as like I guess it's technically a hallucination because there isn't like a physical body there, but
yeah,
like as like a uh imaginary friend brackets real memory of a living person who is inside so they don't I don't think they go into this, definitely not in this episode. I don't think in this season, but it's been a while. That like their relationship has just been made like a lot more intimate.
yeah. No, it's
Just like, oh yeah, no. So your partner, now they are going to die, and the only place for them to live is inside your head, and you're going to have to share all your memories with them.
well, it worked out for Black Mirror, so I'm sure it's gonna be fine here.
Oh yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, yeah.
It's probably cool then.
At least this one, I don't know, feels a bit more justified.
Y- It, yeah, no, like it's fine. It's just like pretty crazy, you know?
And like you know, you have to really hold on to that honeymoon period of like, hey, at least my partner isn't dead, and then
Yeah,
you gotta shift the need for privacy a little bit down the road.
yeah. I Gray does get a body at some point down the
Yeah,
line.
as we've been
And I am
previewed.
sort of wondering, like, what happens with the Gray that is, like, inside Adira's memories?
Oh, we
Do they,
can't.
like, extract?
We can't go here. It's
Oh, yeah, no.
too long of a
Trill are
conscious.
very fun. Trill are the sickest.
Now, sharp-eared listeners may notice we haven't discussed the B-plot, and you might be like, that's weird. Surely these interweave.
No.
No.
The
Moving
B
on to the
yeah.
B-plot.
The B plot is simply, oh yeah, and then all the Trill are like, holy shit, you remember
Yeah.
all the others now?
You're cool.
We're doing like a hard 180, like
We're no longer racist.
we're doing the Akira slide and turning around immediately. And you are like we tried to kill you. We're like so over that. That basically never happened.
Yeah. The plot is that everyone's stressed because they've been zapped to a new century and they're feeling bad, but they're all kind of like, we're professionals, we're good. I've never had an emotion in my
Yeah.
life.
And then Captain Saru is like, what if we had a social gathering? And
This is probably my favorite part of the episode because it's stilted, right? Like it's very much like this has the energy of boss notices everyone is sad at crunch hour 72, so he orders a couple of pizzas.
well, it also has the energy of like Saru is like, yes, in order to get back into emotional balance, what if we all did this common cultural ritual of having dinner together? I know this is a big innovation, but I want us to try it. And it goes really badly because everyone blows up at each other.
But it actually starts quite well. I think
Yeah.
that's the fun part where everyone is like, okay.
Well, it starts a bit awkward, and then, interestingly, Emperor Giorgio is like, I have a haiku. And everybody else is like, oh, let's do haikus. And someone was like, Detmer, you should do a haiku right now. And she's like, blood on the sickbay floor. Not the right syllables. It just keeps trying, and it's like, it is like real meltdown shit.
I feel like the social rules of the world we live in does not permit, unless you have an actual poet at the table, you cannot point to someone and go, produce a haiku right now.
I think it's not even fair to do to a poet.
Probably not, but at least you can see how you get there. But it's just like the most fucking targeted you will ever feel in your life. If someone is like,
Yeah.
hey, come up with a freestyle rap right now. It needs to be on point.
I mean, comedians
I'm just leaving.
frequently complain about, like, telling someone about their profession and then going, like, oh yeah, tell me a joke right now.
I like haikus. I have done haikus, and I would like if someone points to me and does a haiku and does not let up, I'm leaving. I'm getting up and going like, okay, this evening's a wash.
Well, yeah, but then you don't confront your demons.
And the demons in this case is Stamets.
Yeah, so Stamets is sort of like, he is the epicenter of everyone being mad at each other.
Yeah,
because like everyone's tense and everyone's like, and he's sort of the person everyone is tense towards, and like everyone yells at each other, and that's then everyone leaves.
Yeah, that's
and
the
Georgia's
storm
like, wine's good, taking the carafe.
I do like also that they like leave in little groups. Like Stamets, is he like the husband?
Yeah, the husband like follows after. He does not say like, excuse me and my asshole husband.
Yeah.
I did sort of think that there was going to be like any line on his exit, but he just sort of silently follows.
But the other faction does go like, hey Detmer, you're so right. You got him. You got his ass.
Yeah, I think it's Oroshikun who goes like, Oroshikun is one of the bridge crew who rarely get lines, and now they're trying to give the bridge crew a few lines and some characterization. Brackets trauma. And she's like, yeah, no, what an asshole.
Yeah.
I
think that's where like a social fight has breached containment.
Yeah.
It's like when it's not just the two people fighting.
Yeah.
Like I think if everyone's going, both of you calm down, it's manageable. Once people are like, she's right though, that's when you've lost control.
Yeah. And yeah,
Saru's sad.
Yeah, he's just sort of like, he does like one of the most like cool guy, like the most like King Lear style moves, which is like sitting like alone at like a devastated dinner table.
No, it's good.
Like that's like top one places to brood.
Yeah.
It's like that and like a like burning throne room. Like it's
I think burning bridge, like alone on like a burning bridge with like broken glass floating in CRG. That's like the only thing I could think to top that, really.
yeah, no. And everyone like a few people like come back in and are like, yeah, no, so like
Good
that went
try.
really badly. Thank you for trying to put this together. I am personally sorry for my behavior. Particularly Stamets.
Yeah.
And then everything works out and
They
they
put
have a
on
movie night with
Charlie Chaplin?
Buster Keaton, I think.
Fuck. It's 50-50.
Yeah, suggested by none other than the ship, which gains sentience in this episode, but it's sort of slow rolled and held a bit low key. But like, it's not that low key. They go from like, yes, I'm going to list things to, well, you sort of need to consider the factors, and here's a few ideas that really wrap all the things together.
Yeah.
Like it's like hard switch.
You know how like most of the time in sci-fi, like when an AI gains sentience, like the moment is like this, do I have a soul? Or like, I think we should do this with society. Imagine like the moment you're gaining, like your AI is gaining sentience, it goes knock knock. Like you're gonna be like, oh,
I mean,
not
the
only is
AI
it good.
gains sentience is like, yeah, no, I reckon I'm fine. I don't need to do a diagnostic.
That one's pretty good.
Also, planting another Star Trek quibble flag here. I don't know which direction the diagnostic numbers is higher or deeper. And I don't think they ever explain. But 10 is like really high.
Okay.
Like I'm pretty sure Deep Space Nine like ranges from 1 to 5.
So surely higher must be more intense.
I don't know.
I
I
guess maybe
think so.
maybe it's just great inflation. Maybe they were like,
Well, but it's a prequel.
but it is in the future now.
Maybe they winnow it down.
I mean, maybe this is like a it goes to 11, where you just go like, oh, you can only do a level 4 diagnostic. Okay.
But yeah, no, that's two strands and they don't meet.
Not even slightly.
Yeah.
It's remarkable. Usually, like I'm thinking about this in the context of something like The Strange New Worlds. I don't think actually had so much of this, but like in something like Lower Decks, when they were doing this as two separate things, usually at the end, like the crew get together and they're like, "Oh, what are you guys up to?" And I guess I was expecting like Michael to just be there and being like, "Well, everyone seems a lot more relaxed now."
Nah,
No, not even that.
none
Like,
of that. Michael has a denouement scene with Adira.
yeah,
She does not leave her plot. He's like, I know, seems like drama over there. I'm gonna stick with the trill.
yeah.
With the cool species.
And now they have the coordinates of Federation headquarters.
That's right.
That's right.
And
Powerful.
that's why the Federation is around in future seasons or something. I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah.
I gonna say, I think there are some good points of this episode.
Yeah, no.
I genuinely think the visuals of the like diving in to communicate with the symbiont is very cool.
Mm.
The actual plot there is pretty usual for a show like Star Trek, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, no, you need to face your emotions, and we go, yeah, we know. Well, like I feel bad when I'm pointing it out, like on an individual basis, but it's not bringing a lot new to the table of that particular plot line.
It is at least doing show don't tell.
Yes, that is the better
because
part.
like we are left to put together of our own devices that the reason that Adira did not want to like embrace the like threats is because somewhere deep down there's just like the
I will
big
have to see
like
my boyfriend
trauma
die.
knot.
Yeah.
That's like sort of like radiating like a repulsion field.
Like,
right? Like that's on us to work out, and it's not hard.
I also think it actually contrasts quite well, because early in the episode they are very much going like, I need to find out who I am. I'm really like excited is the wrong word, but I'm really keen to do this. And then when they approach, they're like, this is fucked. I'm having emotions. I'm having conditioned responses. This sucks. My emotional center is salivating at the thought of the smell of trauma. It sucks.
It is very weird that Michael's there.
Yeah.
Like, she just sort of immediately clocks what's going on, which I'm not sure, like, what we're supposed to take from that except
It's
exposition.
really fast.
Like,
Like
she shows up and she's like, so the threads are probably trying to connect to you, not, like, attack you?
yeah, like we get that Adira is quite like a nervous, fearful person at this point, right? Like they were like
In a
found in
bad place,
yeah, they were like
specifically.
found like in an escape pod and everything. Like they've not had an easy run at
Have
this.
recently been surviving an assassination.
Yeah.
So I guess like it does just make sense in the sense that like Michael has experience being under pressure and Adira does not.
I think the thing that would make this better is if the other character, instead of Michael, it was either someone who is close to Adira.
Or Sting.
Sure, why not?
He's
Or
got
has
good vibes.
or has a similar experience of like avoiding trauma, right?
Yeah.
Like of having the moment where like, listen, I've been through this, or even having that be their moment where they're like, oh, I need to stop avoiding my trauma, or whatever. Like it's not. I'm not proposing a complex
Yeah.
masterpiece here, but it feels like fairly straightforward, coherent storytelling to have someone else who's
Yeah.
like. You introduce Arl in the episode like someone who has like a box of like their child who died or something, right?
Yeah, but in
Or like
well,
of
I guess we
keepsakes to be
don't
clear.
know that Adira has trauma is the thing.
Right, but this could be a moment
Yeah.
where they realize that, right?
Yeah.
Like they don't realize they have that connection, and then now they
Yeah.
do. But I think the other part is actually do quite like the sequence down there.
Yeah.
Because like you get this mounting resistance, and you get this sort of like trace. Because like when you get to the point where you're like, oh great, like in this flashback, Adira is not the one going in for the symbiont surgery, joining whatever.
Hmm.
Like their boyfriend is.
Yeah.
That's where you go like, ooh, okay,
But
tell me more.
Adira does not look older in the flashback. The math ain't math.
Yeah.
Something's about to hit the ship like an asteroid.
Like I do think it works really well,
Yeah.
right? Like it's again, there's nothing revolutionary, but I think it's good storytelling, and it hits you with the like man with a gun enters the room,
Yeah.
except it's man with a symbiont enters the room, and you're like, who dat? Tell me
Yeah.
more. So I actually think that works really well. Now, I will maintain, I think the dinner party is the best part of this episode.
Yeah, no, it's and guess what? Michael isn't there.
Oh, rip.
Like,
Do you just hate Michael? Do you hate
no,
seeing women
no,
protagonists?
I think I think it's just an issue of a show that shouldn't have a protagonist having a protagonist.
That's fair. That's fair. Gotta take away power from the women who get to lead our shows.
There's other women in the show.
But I like the dinner party. I'm trying to figure out if my appreciation for it is slightly ironic or just actually wholehearted. And I'm not
Um,
sure I'm quite there to figuring that out. I think I like. I've never watched My Dinner with Andre, but I like what other shows do. Like we're gonna do a little dinner scene. I just have like that be the conflict.
we could do my dinner with Andre.
I don't
I've
know.
seen it.
I don't know if we could. I
Where-
really do. What are we gonna connect it to?
I don't know. Dinner season.
The one episode is just us eating dinner, and we're like, this risotto is great.
Yeah, no, it really makes us connect to sort of. I don't know.
Good attempt. Good attempt.
We'll figure a sentimental meal out. You know.
But yeah, like genuinely, I don't think the rest of the show, in what little I've seen of it, the snapshots, follows up on it. But I do like the attempt to sort of flesh out the rest of the bridge crew, right?
Yeah.
Like yes, Stamets is still kind of the focus here, but like we get to see the other respondents, we get to see them interact, we get to see them. And like I do think one of those things that is quite important for characterizations in a show like this is the downtime, right? Like having the moments to
Yeah.
characterize them when it's not like Captain shields up, put power to sensors.
Yeah.
We can't go through the asteroid field. Yes, I can. I'm a cool pilot.
I mean, like, a lot of other Star Trek, like, does a lot of downtime.
Yeah.
Like, particularly the Next Generation, just, like, constantly has cultural events happening on the ship. Like, they, like, rarely opens on the bridge. It's like, ah, yes, it's another trumpet recital. Data is reading poetry. And, like, That's why like it's a bit weird for this episode to go like, yes, we've developed a new concept of having dinner. And like it is, I think it might be like fairly new to the show at this point because the show is very like fast paced.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense to me. But it's like I think they did carve out to try to do
Yeah,
something with that, and I think it works. Like again, you know, I'm not gonna say it's revolutionary, but like I think it works, and I think it's like
yeah,
it's good, and it feels. I like when even shows that have like a grand narrative arc about like saving the universe can sometimes be like, hey, sometimes the like conflict you have to deal with is the like two people just fucking kind of hate each other. You know, like
yeah.
well, that sucks. Like it's not gonna affect the fate of the universe probably, unless you're doing like a loyalty mission. But
I
like
mean, I think in this show, all friendship is directly related to the fate of the universe.
you're not wrong, but like I don't know I find this is the most charming this show has been to me so far,
Yeah.
and I like that they embrace it and don't let there be like the aliens are attacking, get back to stations, and then that's how they
Hmm.
forge back like a friendship. You know, they're like, nope, it was an awkward dinner that went okay. Like someone joked, like, "Haha, this is pretty awkward, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, it is." And then they worked for a bit, and then it absolutely did not work, and now you're dealing with that.
I do want to flag like how much of like a fanfic self insert type character Adira is. Like, oh
Mm.
yeah, no, like the first human to like get a trill symbiont who has an extremely traumatic, tragic backstory, but is also kind of a savant. Like, and like I'm in favor. Like and I can't tell whether this is me being like a pro trill hooligan or whether this is like them doing something like particularly right in like making this extremely like sort of fan servicey character concept work.
I worry we talk about fan fiction too much on this podcast. Nevertheless, I will dive in. I think the other points that might. I'm
Mm.
not actually suggesting that theory, but if we're working with like fan fiction self insert, I think it also adds to it the feeling that like Adira in their background, like in their flashbacks, they're like, no, I'm not good at anything. I'm just. I'm just, like a lonely person, and who could find me but a trill? That's crazy. Now I'm brought out of my everyday relatable status into being good at everything. And also the little bit, which is like, I actually, this is completely consistent with the rest of both Star Trek as a show and Michael Burnham as a character, but like the immediate, like, the famous person steps in to defend me. Chapter 3 of my fanfic, Picard busts out the phaser when someone threatens me. Like it's. I can see it. It's not a serious theory, but there, there are characters who are a lot less fanfic self art
How
insert
do you
vibes.
think Adira like is good instead of bad compared to other like sort of fanfic vibe characters? Because I think they are, but I can't put my finger on why.
I think a little bit is that like they actually have emotional issues that aren't just shyness. Like I'm thinking about
Hmm.
uh fuck, I'm trying to think, is this that, no, this is the last episode where they're getting like a little bit arrogant and sloppy,
Hmm.
and that is not, neither of those show up as fanfic self insert traits.
Right.
You
Yeah.
can never be sloppy, if you're doing like a Mary Sue,
No,
right?
you're right.
I think there's that. I think like in the same way that like they get a bit, they lose a negotiation, so to speak, with Burnham in the start of this episode, where they're like,
Hmm.
I can do it myself, and Burnham goes, okay, and then they're like, I can't do it myself.
Yeah.
You got me.
And I think they are also like rather than just like a collection of traits, like oh, like the traits aren't like all attached to one person. They're like a train wreck that has
Yeah.
converged on one person.
I actually do think Adira feels like one of the more coherent characters to me.
Mm.
And I think in the same way of like this mixture of sort of like headiness and enthusiasm, and then the sort of like sudden hit of like, oh, I'm not capable of that.
Yeah.
Like I have my reserves of competence, but they are not endless, right?
Yeah.
Like there, I think that's like another thing you can talk about, right? It's the idea that like I don't think a proper self-insert fanfic character would not claim to be able to do something and then be unable to do
Mm.
it, right? Like I think a lot of the things you have to think about with that type of character is that they cannot lose social prestige.
Yeah.
You know, that's the big thing. They can willingly give it up by being I'm a small bean, but they cannot lose it against their will.
All right. Yeah, and I guess we didn't like recap this, but like there is like a fun moment where Adira's like, "What are you doing? I don't need you to accompany down to
Yeah.
Trill Michael Burnham," and she's like, "All right, I'm fucking off," and Adira like immediately backpedals.
I I do like that a lot, actually. That
Yeah.
that
Uh,
you're getting your wish. And it turns out it's not very cool.
yeah, it turns out that even Michael Burnham can contribute to the story if she actually like is acting on character traits rather than taking on the role of protagonist.
Also, shout out, actual therapy technique in some occasions. To just be like, okay then, go
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, no. Hooray for emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Do you think the A and B plot like fit together much?
Nope.
All right.
I've been trying to like find something that really makes me go there. It's if we're stretching it, it is about like emotional vulnerability.
Hmm.
I know. Shocking. We've never said that on this podcast before.
Not
Um,
about this show ever.
but it's about like I guess it's admitting that you can't do everything on your own,
Hmm.
right? And that you have your weaknesses, right? Like I think that's the closest you get to forming like a coherent theme for both of them to bring them together. But I feel like they're very different,
Yeah.
right? Like the things that's happening on the bridge crew dinner is a lot more about like showing competence and like stoicism in front of others. And I think like the stuff that's happening with Adira is a lot like bigger and more intimate in a
Hmm.
way, right? Like it's
Yeah.
about like what one is like be not crying at work and the other is not crying in front of like your partner or like a close
Yeah.
friend, right? Like it's that's the difference between these two. So I like it gets a half rating for technically being close, but
Hmm.
like I don't feel like it's meaningfully close enough, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think the other part is too that like the bridge stuff is a lot more interpersonal and Adira's is a lot more intrapersonal, you know?
Yeah. No, like I know I don't mind it.
Mm,
Like I've been like looking for episodes that are like about one thing
mm.
because having like two strands of the meta plot advancing at once, uh, like is troubling to me. Like for podcasting,
Yeah,
but
yeah, that makes sense.
uh, like it for the episode itself. Like yes, like one of them is like meta plot, and one of them is like extremely thinly involved with like a plot hook. Um, which I do think like cheapens it slightly
Mm,
because it's like, oh yeah, no, we actually happen to have the relevant admiral on board.
yeah.
But like it's extremely like thinly veiled to just go like, yeah, no, whatever, we're going to Trill.
You know,
It's a
ev-
Dira time.
every now and then, I'm like, maybe we should bring back filler episodes, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's sort of what Strange New Worlds is trying, right?
Yeah, yeah. It sure is. I mean, I do like Strange New Worlds better than Discovery.
Well, yeah, they had they had those mistakes to learn from.
Yeah, and I mean, like, actually, I think broadly the filler in Strange New Worlds works, but it is still constrained by, hey, we're spending like $1 million for FX every episode.
Yeah, no, like I reckon the camera work is like less constantly moving. So like I reckon they probably got like a camera person who is not trying to like recreate J.J. Abrams
Yeah.
every fucking second.
But yeah,
Um,
like it wasn't too long ago that I started watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, right? And like that is prime filler era of
oh yeah.
like series, and like not all of them are good. I think the lowest rated episode in the entire show is like a very distinct filler episode. But a lot of the time, like they do still manage to weave it together. That's
Yeah.
like, hey, like yeah, they're on a journey. They're gonna meet some villages with problems, and not infrequently, it's gonna link back to the broader themes. And I guess it does make me look a little sad that we're not doing that so much anymore.
Yeah, no, like I I don't know if I've said it on this podcast yet. But like the like this is from like sort of unlike the sort of tail end of like the era when like everyone was absolutely fucking amazed at like Netflix's Daredevil. Was like, oh, we can just like make like a breathless show that like pulls you through like an 8-hour binge.
Hmm.
And like I didn't get very far into that era without going like, this is very stressful. It's going nowhere and I'm having a bad time. And like those objections very much apply to Discovery because like it's really hard to like stretch out a plot over like 8 to 13 episodes.
Yeah.
I think they go even longer for like season 1, right? And have it like not be like tediously stretched. Um and they sort of like work around that a bit, right? Like season 5 is like, oh yeah, no, it's like a scavenger hunt.
Yeah.
Um
But you are right that like the pacing of
yeah.
this show does seem it's uniquely ill suited to you.
Yeah, no, it's like I am just like personally a poor fit for this format, but I do also think it is a bad format unless you're doing like stuff that is like Game of Thrones, where you're like, oh yeah, no, we have like an insanely long book series we're adapting, so like we're never running out of materials
Yeah.
unless we like get like 8 seasons of this.
Yeah, and
And
who
then,
knows what would have happened if that happened.
if we need to be afraid of that kind of success, we have we basically have no problems at all.
Yeah, everything's good.
We're never going to run out of books. But yeah, no, like that's sort of a thing. And yeah, this is like not that, right? It's just like, yeah, no, it's like one Trill episode, and like you still have like a bit of the weight because it's like, oh yeah, no, we have the protagonist who like has to be there. Um but like it like comes together as like one sort of serialized story and one like contained story
Yeah,
that is nominally linked to the series, and
yeah.
that's
And I think
that's all right.
like I would claim that like as much as like no one would be like if this episode didn't exist, no one would be like, hey, where's the dinner scene though? They missed doing the dinner scene. Like but like simultaneously, I think there's value in it, right?
Mm,
From like actually expanding it and having
yeah,
the sort of like surrounding, like we don't have to go to David Cage's levels of like we need to show every bathroom break, but like there's a point to having like these little flashes of like what's normality like for these people,
yeah,
what's
no.
happening when the boys aren't swinging their swords and casting their spells.
And from like my half remembered like memory of this like show as a whole, like it is very nice to like have the bridge crew like actually have lines
Yeah,
as opposed to just like, oh yeah, no, like they're like there for a few reaction shots. um and also like there is just like one of the bridge crew who has like full robot getup,
yeah,
who is gone at this point.
yeah,
But like, oh yeah, we saw her in a flashback.
yeah, yeah.
And
Something with a
like you shouldn't do that with a character that you're just like getting there only for reaction shots. You should get mileage out of that makeup budget or not do it.
Like I've gotten used to being thrown into these like Star Trek shows and kind of just having to like figure out who's who over time.
Mm,
Um, but I kept noticing in the I think both the previous episodes we just hear Washakun like a
yeah.
couple of times, and I'm like, I'll find out who that is eventually. And now I do, and I'm like, I don't know why she's being referred to so often.
She's one of the bridge crew and she has a occasional speaking role.
And she is the
No idea.
there you go.
I know Detmer, but that's because
I know Detmer now that she's the
yeah,
pilot. I did not know she was the pilot previously. I would have, being a racist, I would have guessed she was into engineering because she's a cyborg. I think.
I think she's a cyborg.
Yeah, she has a cyborg little
Yeah,
crescent.
but yeah, no, it's tough.
Yeah,
They're
I understand the
and it's nice that they're getting room to breathe a bit, but not that much.
I understand the difficulty, but I also feel like if this is like an obvious thing to say in hindsight, but if you're gonna make so many like bridge crew that you can't rope them into their own arcs, make fewer bridge crew.
Well, I mean, like a lot of other Star Treks do have like the completely ancillary like bridge crew members.
Yeah.
But like they do still have like a broader cast, right? Like Stamets is like the only like one who is like has a major like secondary character role. But in like other Star Trek, it's like yeah, no, we have security, we have communications, right?
Even like
Uh,
Strange New Worlds had plenty of these, right? Like I
but
found
here we have like science engineering doctor, and they're like fairly sidelined even then.
yeah. Like that's the thing, is that like I think you can imply the existence of a broader I think the word gets weird is when they go like I don't know what the Washington does, but like say she's like communications or whatever, and
Hmm.
they're like, oh, take us in, oh Washington. Like just say like take us in. You know, because then you're not
Yeah.
implying that like this is a person you need to pay attention to. And especially when you put them in just like occasional like this, my impression is less like, oh, this is a person that exists and like it's just there to fill a role, and it's like, oh, they're trying to do something with this character and they're not getting there. You know?
Yeah. But yeah, no, there. I don't think this is a show that usually spends its screen time wisely, unfortunately. But yeah, um, that's. Ooh, we've been going for a while.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
I mean, it's. I think it might be my favorite episode of the ones we've seen.
You still said no.
Yeah, I don't think the series is well conceived. Like, I don't know, I've come around a bit on it more.
Okay. And it's still a no.
I
This
don't
is the
know.
favorite
It's like
episode.
a
Okay, well that's roughly where
of
I
the
was
ones
at.
we have seen
Yeah, no, I'm
together.
aware, I'm aware.
It's 3 episodes.
I know.
It's not that big a
What's the
sample.
off the top of your head, do you remember how well this episode was rated?
Absolutely not.
Bangin'. Alright, and thank you for listening, dear listeners.
And see you on the other side.